Morning everybody, High Mileage Rider here, and today I'm going to do a review, an honest 1-year review of my 2019 Super Tenere ES. If you're interested, hang around. Okay, let's find a little spot off the main road where we can give you guys a little closer look at the Super Tenere. This road doesn't look like it's used much. Let's have a look here. Okay, so here we are out in the country, and we'll do a little walk around the Super Tenere. And as I said, this is a 1-year review. I have had this bike since July of 2020, although it is a 2019 that was new in a box when I got it, and this is the end of July 2021. So let's turn the camera around here and we will show you the bike. Okay, so firstly, we should probably show you the mileage on the bike. So this bike is now 1 year old, and I have 30,780 kilometers on the bike. Now, part of the reason that the mileage is so low, because I normally drive 35,000 to 40,000 kilometers a year, is I have the 1991 Goldwing, and I've put about 8,000 kilometers on that bike already this year. So this would have been at about 39,000, but you know, almost 31,000 K in a year isn't bad. So, as I said, this is a 2019 Yamaha Super Tenere ES. I bought it in end of July 2020. It was new in a box, as I said. Had 0 kilometers when I bought it. It came with pretty much everything you see on the bike. Now, I've written a few things down on a piece of paper so I don't forget anything. So, this bike has all LED lighting with projector halogen lights. What I have done, though, is I have changed the parking lights into the Philips LEDs and put Speed Demon LED driving lights on. The bike has, as you saw when I showed you the mileage, a twin LCD display. This motorcycle has a 1199cc parallel twin 8-valve double overhead cam motor. It is a 6-speed with a shaft drive. Now, I won't tell you what Yamaha publishes for horsepower and torque figures, because all of the manufacturers exaggerate with that. But I have watched a few dyno videos on YouTube, and most people would agree it has between 110 and 115 horsepower at about 7,200 RPM roughly, and about 85 to 90 foot-pounds of torque at 6,000 RPM. The bike is about 580 pounds wet. It has a 23-liter fuel tank, and it takes regular fuel, 87 octane. The seat height is 33.2 inches on the low seat position and goes up to 34.5 inches on the high seat position. Now, the front fork is an inverted front fork. It's a 43 millimeter. It has electronic compression, rebound dampening, and 7.5 inches of travel. The rear shock is a monoshock, has electric preload, rebound dampening, and also has 7.5 inches of travel. The rims are spoked, tubeless. The front tire is a 110 ADR 19. and the rear tire is a 150/70R17. In the front, we've got twin, dual, well, the same thing, 310 millimeter discs, and in the rear we have a single 282 millimeter disc, and it's a unified ABS system. The bike comes with traction control, linked ABS, cruise control, center stand, fuel injected. The frame is a steel tube backbone. The bike came with heated grips, came with handguards, came with an adjustable windshield, came with a center stand, came with 32-liter side cases, which I don't have on the bike anymore because I wanted a little more space. It came with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. And that's about pretty much everything it came with. Everything else that's on the bike I put on afterwards as accessories. So let's have a look at our accessories we have on the bike. So since getting the bike, I have put on the Healy bar risers. And the Healy bar risers came with this brake line extension in the package, so I didn't have to purchase it extra. As I mentioned, I've put on the SW Motec hard bags. The one side with the exhaust being a 37 liter, the other side being a 45 liter. I have the GV Trekker Mono Key 52 liter top case. I have the bike wired for a TomTom GPS. So you just plug it into the cradle and it's good to go. I have put a trickle charger on the bike, and I have the cable just hidden here underneath the fairing of the bike. As I mentioned earlier in other videos, I did take the saddle to Volker's Upholstery here in Edmonton, and what he did was, I found as a taller driver, 6 feet tall with a 34-inch inseam, that the seat was canted forward, so I was sliding forward towards the tank. So what I had him do was pull off the cover. He added some gel insert and built up the front of the saddle a bit to make it a little bit more flat. And now it is an amazingly comfortable saddle. Very comfortably can do more than 1,000 kilometers a day. I switched from the standard windshield to the tall Yamaha windshield with the Puig flip at the top, which is amazing. I can now ride at any speed with my visor open. I don't get bugs, rocks, or anything else in my face. No wind buffeting, nice smooth air. In conjunction with the winglets on the sides, you get a smooth pocket of air around your chest, shoulders, and your head. Now you'll notice that my winglets aren't clear anymore. One of the suggestions made by a viewer was to sand them down with a 800 and then 1,000 grit sandpaper, and I actually painted them black with something called Flex Seal. And it's great because now there's no reflection or glare off of the winglets when the sun is behind me. As I mentioned, we have the Speed Demon LED lights, which are a 6-pod spotlight. I only use those during the daytime to be more visible on the highway. I have them angled down about 20 feet in front of the bike and out to the side to illuminate the shoulders when I'm traveling on range roads by myself at night, so I have a better chance of seeing any wildlife on the road. One of the things that really sets this bike apart, because originally this bike was all matte black, is I did a vinyl wrap with a fellow named Corey from Hardcore Automotive on the tank, and then of course put the Gripster tank pad knee grips on, and on the top of the tank. There is an SW Motec skid plate on the bottom. Adventure Designs highway pegs, which are awesome for being able to stretch out, gives you multiple different positions other than just standing up when you're riding. And we have the SW Motec crash guards. And that is pretty much everything for accessories on my bike. I might have forgotten something. If I have, please make a comment and I'll answer you. Now, in this 1 year review, again, just about 31,000 kilometers, there's been good and bad things with the bike. No bike is perfect, but this one is pretty darn close. Let's start with the cons. There was a lot of glare on the screen, the twin LCD screen, when the sun was behind you. So I put on the Speed Demon anti-glare cover. Just put it on actually a few weeks ago. Still a couple little bubbles that will work their way out. But it works really well. It doesn't remove all of the glare, but it gets rid of probably about 80% of it. As I said, there was a lot of glare off the winglets as well, so I painted those. There was an issue with the ignition key being soft with the bags, but that's not an issue for me because I needed more space for my long trip, so I switched to the SW Motec side cases. Probably the only thing that's really irritating with the bike is the side stand. But you know what? You get used to that. You adjust your suspension on the rear when you stop, and you just pick a more level piece of ground so that it doesn't feel like it's going to tip over. Now, for the pros with this bike. This bike is, in my opinion, an amazing touring bike. This bike was not originally designed, in my opinion, as an off-road machine like a KTM 1290 or a BMW 1250. It will go off-road. It will do everything the other bikes do. Depends on the skill of the rider, of course, and I'm not that skilled off-road, so I know my place, which is mostly on the pavement. But it has lots of power. I will insert a video here of roll-on power, and you could decide if it would have enough power for you.
Okay, so there's no cars behind us, so we're going to do a little speed run here, so you can decide if the Yamaha Super Tenere would have enough power and speed for you. We're going to do this in sport mode. And that's as fast as we need to go.
It has tons of luggage space, as I said, with a 37-liter case on one side, a 45 on the other, a 52-liter top case, and I just bought the GV rack that goes on top so that I can strap bags to the top of the top case if I want to. Amazing cornering for a 600-pound bike when it's loaded down. This thing literally, in my opinion, corners like it's on rails. This bike has amazing brakes. This thing will stop on a dime. The fuel mileage is pretty darn good, I would say. We generally ride about 10 over the speed limit, and I'm finding if I'm in 6th gear at 120 to 130 kilometers an hour, I'm getting anywhere from 440 to up to almost 500 kilometers out of a tank, which is pretty darn good as far as I'm concerned. The bike has amazing wind protection, and of course it is, in my opinion, the ultimate value for the money.
So one of the things that I forgot to mention when we were talking about the pros and cons of the bike is I have had two things go wrong with my motorcycle in the first year and almost 31,000 kilometers. The first thing that broke was my heated grips. The heated grips broke probably at about 29,500 kilometers. When I took it into Riverside Suzuki Yamaha to have it diagnosed, they found that the wire that runs in the throttle grip had broken. So, no big deal, they ordered me some new grips. A couple weeks later they were installed, and I now have heated grips again. But just so that you're aware, this happened to me. The second thing that happened is the windshield is held on in these 4 spots by little rubber grommets that go through the bracket. They have threads in the middle, and then what you do is you put a screw through the windshield, through the rubber grommet, and you screw it in. As you screw it in, the rubber grommet goes from long and thin to short and fat. And by doing that, it holds the windshield in place. Well, rubber is a biodegradable item, so over time it breaks down as it's exposed to the elements. So after a year at about 30,000, 31,000 K, those grommets broke down. So I had to order new ones. They're actually a little pricey. They're $7 each, so it was $28 for the windshield. I put those in, and to ensure that if I'm ever on a trip and one or more of them degrade and break down, that I don't lose the windshield, I went to a place in town called Edmonton Nut and Bolt and got these nylon locking nuts to put on to just ensure that the windshield stays in place. But other than that, there's been no real issues.
So all in all, I am extremely pleased with my purchase of this 2019 Yamaha Super Tenere ES. It was extremely cheap to buy, but is of the highest quality in its build. Came with a great warranty, lots of aftermarket accessories for the bike, extremely comfortable to ride, great ergonomics, wonderful wind protection, lots of power, great handling, suspension, brakes. It is a great all-round adventure touring bike, even though it is more biased for on-road. I'm really looking forward to my upcoming trips on this motorcycle, as it is so much fun to ride. And as I said earlier in the video, if you're looking for a full-sized adventure touring bike, along with all of the big names, I would highly recommend that you give this bike a test ride. It just might surprise you. And it will definitely surprise your significant other when you show them what you paid for it. Anyways, as always, we'll see you in the next video. Remember to keep your right hand cranked and the rubber side down.